I won't tell the audience that Gil told me that this is going to be like a kind of a calm discussion.
I wanted it to be. You started it. sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
One. Hi, everybody. Hi, Ronnie. How are you doing?
Hi, Gail.
You're an Israeli, born, raised.
Yep.
You have family here, friends. Yet, you dedicate your life to promote a boycott on the country you were born and raised in order to hurt it financially and politically. So that's weird. So please explain.
It's about bringing about equality, freedom, and justice for all the people of the land. Simple.
Which land is this?
This land, Israel,
Tel
Palestine.
Aviv? Okay, so let me just talk about that a bit, and then you can give maybe your twist.
حضرت الإنجليز وحضرت ذبحة اليهود في الخليل. ذبحة اليهود ذبحوهم أهل الخليل. وأبي والله ذبح وجاب أواعي من عندهم وكسبوها.
أشكرك شكرا لك.
In 1948, after the declaration of the State of Israel, there was a war which we call the War of Independence against Egypt, Iraq also, Jordan, Syria.
Many of the Arab states, who had just recently won independence themselves, declared war on Israel in an effort to establish a unified Arab Palestine where all of British Palestine had been.
It was supposed to be 50-50 according to the 47 partition line. After the war, we got like 77-78% of the land, and a lot of Palestinians, native Palestinians, indigenous as you call them, here in Tel Aviv and in other places, they fled during the war or were chased out, expelled, and then they could not come back.
And to this day, they are denied the right to come back.
Right, and those that are here, they have the citizenship.
It's about being a privileged Israeli Jew, being one from among the privileged group that is fighting against a system that is inherently racist, supremacist, and on and on and on.
But let's put that into context. 2 years earlier, ended the Second World War. The Jews were exterminated like in the millions. Like in 1948, if you were now going back in time, you would rather fight in the armies of Egypt or Iraq or Jordan or Syria than fight in the armies of the Zionists of the new Israeli country. You think that they were in the right by attacking us?
The Zionists, as supremacist settler colonialists, were absolutely in the wrong.
So you would fight in the other army? You think that they
don't
were
think
in the
I would
right?
fight in any army.
They were in the right?
Unless, maybe it was, if you ask me about...
They were in...
That would be a tough call,
Okay.
What
But
would
they
I
were
do then?
you think that they were doing what's right? It was okay for them to come in and kill and expel
No, the Zionists
to
were,
win the
were
war?
very cynical about it, and you know what? Let's go
Everybody's cynical about
I
it.
told you
They're
that
politicians.
I brought a prop, right?
Okay,
So let me show
okay.
you that. This guy.
This
Wonderful
guy. Okay.
Okay. You know who he is?
This is like activism right now.
Yes.
Oh, get it off! Don't look!
This guy, his name is Jacob Israel Dahan. Yaakov Israel Dahan.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. A Dutch-born author and lawyer and poet. He managed to organize a meeting with the king of Hijaz, King Abdullah, and he gave his promise that he will allow free access, free immigration for Jews from all over the world into his kingdom, which was later also about to inherit Palestine, actually. Eventually that didn't happen. Free access for Jews into his kingdom to live there as equals.
In a democratic liberal state with
Yes.
a parliament.
I don't know if it was, he was the king, so whatever, but...
Because there's no democracy right now in Jordan.
Hold on, that, you're like...
No, I'm saying like, is this like a utopian society under a king?
I'll tell you
I don't want to live under a king.
For that meeting, some months later, Yaakov Israel Dahan became a martyr. He was assassinated by the Zionist leadership at the time.
Okay.
The leadership.
We're talking about what year?
This, if we don't know what happened there, we can't really understand what Zionism, what the Zionist project is about, and that's why I mentioned it.
But I want to know, what is your aim? You are working to boycott Israel. Why?
Okay.
What do you hope to achieve?
The BDS campaign, Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions campaign, started in July 2005 by Palestinian civil society. And those organizations represent Palestinians from all three domains of Palestinian society, meaning those who are under military occupation in the West Bank, Gaza, those who are subjugated as second-class citizens here in 48, or what you would call Israel, and those who are in the diaspora, those who have been...
Refugees.
They are calling on the international community to show their solidarity by applying pressure on Israel in order to make it abide by its obligations under international law. And there are three rights, fundamental, absolute rights of the Palestinians that have to be respected. And until such a time that they will be respected, they are calling on the international community to apply pressure. Which are these rights? Number one, ending of the military occupation of 1967, the harsh, brutal occupation of the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. People who live under that occupation obviously deserve to be free. Rather than only speaking about the occupation of 67.
And then in 1967, Israel and several Arab states went to war again. Israel won and then gained control over the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, the Sinai Peninsula, and the Golan Heights. So the 1947 proposal looked like this. By 1967, things looked like this.
So you're not for two states.
The BDS campaign, since it demands these three fundamental rights that we said: ending of the occupation, equality for those who are second-class citizens, and the rights of the refugees. Okay, the rights of those who have been expelled from here.
To come back, you want them all to come back.
It's their right. It's not about me, what I want. I'm
go?
outside of the equation here. It is their right. They are indigenous people to this land.
Where would they go? Come to Dekel Pok. This was mine 70 years ago.
Okay, now you see, you're already transitioning to into the how are we going to implement it, which is good. Well, okay, if you already accept the right, then we can talk about how to implement it.
No, I'm saying that it's not feasible. It's just not feasible pragmatically. Okay. My family suffered from injustices. So does that mean that I can go back to some guy and knock on his door and say this was mine 8 years ago? No, it shit happened. So but you have like other refugees here, so just kick people out.
But other than that, also from the moral standpoint.
Okay, so it's a moral issue, or
for me, obviously, it's a moral issue.
For me, it's pragmatic. The decision. I'm looking here. Pragmatically, a one state. This seems to me like a Syria, Iraq kind of way. I see blood flowing in the streets. I see tribes fighting against tribes. I see destruction. I see myself hopping on a plane and getting off out of here. And of course, a two-state solution where we get 77% or 78% and they get 22, 23. Of course, it's unjust in some way. Okay, but practically, this would be the best solution for the biggest amount of people. So for me, pragmatically, it's the best decision. But your choice is a moral choice, what you said. It's not a pragmatic choice.
So let's talk about that. The BDS campaign doesn't take a solution-based approach. It takes a rights-based approach. There are three fundamental rights.
Why
how
did you choose the right-based?
How is it going to be implemented? That is secondary. It can be done in one state, it can be done in two states, it can be done in 5 states. If you want to do it in 2 states, go for it, fine. But both states will have to respect all 3 rights of Palestinian people.
No, what you are saying, the 2 states, Palestine and Israel, and the refugees from 1948 who left what is now Israel, they will go back to Israel, like 5 million of them?
6 million, yeah.
6 million, so 6 million will add to the 8-9 million.
The situation is, the Zionist-Palestinian conflict is between, if you can call it a conflict, is between... I will answer. Okay, you want me to respond to how many people will live where?
According to your plan.
And what I'm saying is that the notion, you're actually basically playing with me here a game of demographics. And I refuse to play...
pragmatism.
No, you're talking about demographics. How many of us versus how many of them? I refuse to have this discussion.
No, but we'll have like 13 million people here.
I see it as being inherently racist.
Why?
Because
if you double the number of population in a small country, that's a problem, no matter what are the demographics.
Okay, you're talking about practicalities? Fine. Let's talk about practicalities. If you say, for example, that there will not be enough employment, there will not be enough infrastructure.
Yes.
That's a valid argument. Let's talk about that. That's the second. As I said, how is it going to be implemented? We can discuss. We can discuss whether they will come by trains or by planes.
No, we don't have room for them. It's so tiny.
You see, Israel is a pariah state and should be treated as such. Is it the only state that is
the worst
that is
state?
acting in violation of?
Is it the worst state in your eyes?
It's really difficult to say. No, obviously the U.S. does far worse things than Israel, for
And who's
example.
boycotting
you
the
know,
US?
Martin Luther King said that the U.S. is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world, or terror
Right.
in
Okay.
the world.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean,
And now,
I
who's
could
boycotting the
agree with that,
US?
of course.
Are you boycotting the U.S.?
There is no concerted effort. There is no call in order to boycott
Why?
the U.S. It's not
Why?
feasible, and so on.
So it's a pragmatic
those.
decision. Okay, so it's a moral issue, or
For me,
it's a
obviously, it's a
pragmatic
moral issue. No Zionist that I know wants a constitution, but anyway.
I know many of them who work very hard for it. They have even like an NGO thing and stuff like that. Whatever.
We'll go back to that. The same
No, we won't.
The same ones
Go
that talk
forward.
about Akri and
We
so
only
on.
go forward. Go forward.
The ones who speak the language of lies. So they speak about
Who's
already.
they? Come
Okay,
on,
okay.
Ronnie, come on.
Okay,
come on.
I'll finish that and then we'll go.
Okay,
to
no,
that.
and then you let me speak.